Hey, muy buenas guapísimos, soy el payaso de Bertosin News. Suscríbete a mi super canal y déjame todos los comentarios que deseas y comparte por donde quieras todas mis noticias. Muchas gracias.
So were the last 5 hours of Andreas Lubitz. About 5 hours passed since that Tuesday morning. Andreas Günther Lubitz left Homeway Düsseldorf Airport. An Airbus piloting crashed against the Alps with 150 people on board at 700 km per hour. This is the story of those 5 hours, constructed from the information the prosecutor of Marseille-based black box revelations of the German media, sources of research and testimony gathered by this newspaper. It is unnecessarily incomplete, with some guesses and black holes sink into the pilot's mind. Lubitz's story, the one who had all the answers. Breaking dawn. It is still dark in Düsseldorf when Lubitz leaves home. Its pilot Germanwings, low-cost subsidiary of Lufthansa, since September 2013. Today it fly, first, returned to Barcelona. Young, 27, has an apartment in the neighborhood of Unterbach, 20 minutes from Düsseldorf Airport. Lives there half the time, especially working days. The rest is spent in the family home in Montabaur, near Koblenz. Her parents, a businessman and a professor of piano, occupy the ground floor, he and his brother the top. With a long history of depression, Lubitz is under psychiatric treatment and suffers vision problems. A psychiatrist has extended sick leave. Lubitz hidden in his apartment all those doctors, broken into pieces documents. His racing career, the dream that has cherished since childhood. Danger. The day dawns in Düsseldorf. The sky is somewhat cloudy and the thermometer reads 5 degrees. Think Lubitz, and what do 5 hours later? First flight of the day. At 6:50 p.m., the Airbus A320 Germanwings flies to Barcelona timely. It is the flight 4U9440. At the controls, Commander Patrick Sonderheimer, pilot with 10 years of experience and more than 6,000 flying hours, married with 2 children. Formed in Lufthansa, Germanwings working for since May. In Lubitz's hand, with 630 hours of flight, is a rookie. The Düsseldorf-Barcelona trip runs smoothly, an Airbus landing at El Prat Airport at 8:57 p.m., just 2 minutes after the scheduled time. Did you drop Sonderheimer cabin sometime during the first flight of the day? The answer is almost impossible. Recordings on board gradually erased, and the 4 flight attendants who could testify are dead. Probably never know if Lubitz had no opportunity to act, if he expected the second flight, or if dark idea had not nested in his mind. Delay in El Prat. The flight 4U9525 Barcelona-Düsseldorf is scheduled to take off at 9:35 p.m. but air traffic in El Prat imposes a delay of half an hour. During the 60 minutes that the Airbus is in Barcelona for unloading and loading passengers, Sonderheimer down to inspect the aircraft as is required. Lubitz stays in the cabin preparing the next flight. Then goes to the platform and speak with the head of catering. It is laconic and uncommunicative. Passengers. At Terminal 2 of El Prat begins shipment of passage. The largest group consists of 16 German high school students and 2 teachers, who return home after an exchange with a school in Linares del Valles. It was a morning of nerves. At the airport, a girl realizes he forgot his passport at the shelter and have been about to miss the plane. A businessman sends a WhatsApp, an employee who awaits you in Düsseldorf. Now I take the plane. As several passengers, goes to the food fair Anuga Food Tech held in Cologne. It is also the destination of the food hall. BTA director of Fira de Barcelona has taken the weight to send some emails work before boarding the plane. The Barcelona-Dusseldorf in the morning is a popular flight by men and women in business. As a small businessman born in Ivory Coast and living in Lleida, who travels to Belgium for work, he has missed his flight and the company has repositioned him in this. 10,000 kilometers from Barcelona, Claudia Vasquez sleeps in Florianópolis, Brazil. It is one of the 4 passengers that have not been presented at the check-in desk. Claudia, Chilean-born entrepreneur who lives in the Bages with her English husband and 2 small children, decided at the last minute to stay a few days in Brazil to relax and not go to the Anuga fair. Already sitting on the plane, before turning off the phone, a woman traveling with her 12-year-old daughter and her mother query for the last time WhatsApp to 9.49h. They go to Manchester, where his teenage son studies. In other row another woman who also will visit 2 sons, sitting Erasmus in Germany. One more flight. At 9.52 p.m. the A320 takeoffs begins, tuck the runway 07RL Prat and takes flight at 10.01h. Talks between the control tower and the commander Sonderheimer are standard. Nothing arouses suspicion. In aviation jargon, this flight is Sonderheimer non-pilot flying, PNF, in charge of communications and control flight, and Lubitz is the pilot flying, PF, which is at the controls. By 10:20, the plane leaves the Spanish airspace and enters the French. Nor then the flight controls perceive anything strange in communications. In the cockpit, the captain and first officer speak normally, with an even jovial tone, as has told the prosecutor of Marseilles based on the recordings. The commander co-pilot confesses that he has not had time to go to the bathroom in Barcelona, and Lubitz tells him to go when you want, he will stay in command of the unit. At 10.27h, the plane that flies to Toulon reaches cruising altitude of 38,000 feet, 11,500 meters, which should hold to start landing maneuvers. In the cockpit, Sonderheimer begins the briefing, i.e. the enumeration of flight parameters and procedures for landing in Dusseldorf, scheduled for 11.55h. The co-pilot listens and responds to brief mode. Even then mumbles something you may not wake any suspicions the captain, but it charges significance in light of the facts. While Sonderheimer tells him to go preparing the landing, Lubitz said, "We'll see and hope." Lubitz left alone. At 1030h the A320 responds to air traffic control. Sonderheimer pronounces his last words from the cockpit, "Address Irmar thanks 18G. Is receipt of authorization to proceed to Irmar, the next point on the route where should contact again with the control, and is the indicator 18G aircraft radio." After this exchange, Sonderheimer asks the co-pilot to take office while he goes to the bathroom, gets up from his seat and out of the cab. Lubitz is left alone in front of Airbus. The co-pilot locked the door of the cabin and manipulates the flight monitoring system, flight control system, to lower the appliance. Something goes wrong. On land, in the control tower of Aix-en-Provence detected by radar that Airbus is emerging from the height assigned without informing why. Descend 17.8 meters per second. Make a first radio call on the plane with no response. Upstairs, the commander has returned from the bathroom and tries to enter the cabin. Tap gently on the door. No response. Touch a little stronger. Nothing. Grab the intercom that communicates with the cockpit, is identified, he asks his partner to open. Inside the cabin, silence. Surely, though it is just a guess, that's when Sonderheimer realizes that the plane is descending. Possibly, and is also a guess, alert the crew as they attempt the passage does not realize that something is wrong and panic. Access denied. Sonderheimer emergency enter the code to open the cabin, which changes periodically and known only to the two pilots and the crew chief. If something had happened, Lubitz, if you were ill or unconscious, the door would open in seconds. But in the panel the red light appears. Access denied. The commander knows that the passenger can only have done intentionally, there has to be operated lever lock. For the love of God, open the door, shouts the captain, while hitting the door and tries to throw down a challenge. The locking mechanism designed to protect pilots terrorists, leaves isolated cabin. The emergency code cannot be reintroduced until after 8 minutes. Nor can contact intercom. The timbers and sounds are inhibited. Inside, Lubitz still silent. His breathing is normal. Emergency. Since land continue with growing anxiety path Airbus. All attempts to make radio contact failed. At 1035 h, the plane has gone down to 7,600 meters and the general direction of French civil aviation decides to activate the emergency level. This type of alert, called détresse faux, indicates that the aircraft and its occupants are at risk and involves sending hunt to try to reach the plane and see what happens aircraft. Perhaps a terrorist has taken over Airbus, or there has been a depressurization that has left the entire world aboard unconscious. All hypotheses are open. Orange base Mirage 2000 takes off one hurtling toward the plane of German wings. On the plane are sounding alarms height loss. First 7,000 meters, 90 seconds later, 5,000. Sonderheimer shouts, "Open the damn door." The commander, probably helped by other members of his crew cabin door clubbing, try to tear it down. Impossible, is shielded. Passengers scream. The end. The Airbus continues to decline. At 1040 h is flying at 2,700 meters, a very dangerous height in a mountainous area, while approaching the first peaks of the Provence Alps, between 2,500 and 2,900 meters. At 10.41 h the sign of the plane disappeared from radar. The last recorded height of 1,890 meters. At 10.49 h 2 military helicopters take off in search of Airbus towards the last captured coordinates. It is too late. The Airbus A320 with 150 people on board has crashed into a stone wall of the Alpine Massif of the Three Bishoprics, 700 km per hour. At 1,110 hours the helicopter sighted the wreckage, pulverized and scattered on 2 acres. They know when seeing no survivors. Little do they know it has not been an accident.
Hey, muy buenas a todos, soy el payaso de Bertosin News. Si te ha gustado el vídeo, déjame todos los comentarios que deseas y comparte por donde quieras todas mis noticias, y suscríbete a mi super canal de YouTube y también me puedes seguir en @Bertosin News por Twitter, Facebook y como novedad en bertosinnews.blogspot.com. Gracias por su atención de parte de Bertosin News.